Alright, logic fans, welcome to our second video on section 4.2. Let's pick up right where we left off. So this is video 4.2b. Here we have a form, okay, as defined at the beginning of the video 4.2a. So this is a form. These are all sentences as defined in 4.1, okay? And the question is, which, if any of these, are substitution instances of this particular form? This one right here, not some other one. We can come up with millions of forms, and maybe a sentence is a substitution instance of multiple forms, who knows? But the question is this sentence a substitution is of this form? Yes or no? Okay. Now, if it's not, can you tell me which of these three conditions was violated? And that's going to help us really make sure we understand what's all being tracked with all of this jargon here. So pause now, work through this, and then we'll go through it together. Okay, hope you've had a chance to pause. I'm going to start working through them. If at any point you want to pause again after you see a couple and then try the rest on your own, go for it. But so what we're going to have here is that this is in fact a substitution instance. So I'm going to put substitution instance, okay? That is indeed a substitution instance of this form, and none of these are violated, right? Every individual variable in the form, every one of these guys is replaced with at least one proposition or individual constant. And if multiple tokens of the same type appear on the variable side, as they do here and here in the form, then they have to be replaced with the same one, and they are. Now, notice, this rule does not say, I repeat, it does not say, okay, that you could not replace the y with an a also. You can. It's just that if you have individual variables of the same type, they have to be replaced with the same one. But if you have different ones, they can be replaced with the same, a in both cases, or different, okay? So this is a substitution instance, and that's a-okay. And notice it doesn't make any other changes to the overall sort of structure of the sentence or the form here, okay? All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at this case. Is this a substitution instance of this particular form right here? And the answer here is no. Okay, not a substitution instance. And which of these is violated? Well, it's not the first one, which requires every single one of these to be replaced with a lowercase letter, A through T inclusive. Every single one of them is. And it's not making any other changes, okay? So it's a Proviso 2 violation. And as we notice here, we have the two x's, and so they have to be replaced with the same individual constant. Doesn't matter if it's A, doesn't matter if it's B, but it's got to be the same one, okay? So this is not a substitution instance of this particular form, all right? Now, let's go ahead and take a look at this. Let's see here. This one is also not a substitution instance of this particular form, and it is also a Proviso 2 violation, okay? So same reasons as before. What about this case? Is this a substitution instance of this form? And the answer is yes, it is. Okay, that is a substitution instance. Now, again, this is weird, but we emphasized it a moment ago. Okay, doesn't matter that the y and the x have the same one in them. That's okay. What's prohibited is that you have different individual constants where you have the same individual variables. That's it. Okay, so D is absolutely okay, and that is going to count as a substitution instance for us. Okay, now let's go ahead and take a look at this particular situation here. This is not a substitution instance, and this is a Proviso 3 violation, right? It changes this to an and out of nowhere, and Proviso 3 says no other changes can be made. So no, this is not a substitution instance. And in this case, is this a substitution instance of this particular form? Once again, the answer is no. Okay, it is not. And it is not because it's a Proviso 1 violation. Proviso 1 says you have to replace every individual variable with a constant, and this one is not replaced. So that is not a substitution instance either. So I hope that exercise helped clarifies for you what this means and when a sentence counts as a substitution instance of a particular form and when it does not. More examples in the textbook. Let's approach this same concept from a slightly different direction, okay, to make sure we're really getting it. So let's try this. In this case, you're supposed to imagine that you've got two individual variables available, okay? You've only got little a and little b available, and that's it. No c, no d, nothing like that, okay? Just little a and little b. These are your only individual constants that you have available. My question is can you find, using only these two individual constants, every logically possible substitution instance of this form using only these two individual constants? And then similarly for these two, okay? So go ahead and try that now. Pause now and we'll go through it together. Okay, hopefully you've had a chance to pause and take a look at this, but the only two possible substitution instances given A and B of this form, right? This is a form, and these are the substitution instances. The only substitution instances are these two, if we restrict ourselves to these two individual constants. Okay? Now, in this case, it's kind of interesting. Notice that you've got the x in both places, okay? That means there's only going to be two possible substitution instances, and they look like this. All right, it's these two right here. Those are the only two you can have. All right, now for this case, the fact that you move from the x to the y makes a huge difference, because now there are 4 possible substitution instances. All right, and if you haven't taken the chance to find them, see if you can find them all now. Okay, so there's these two. It's okay to replace the x and the y with the same individual constants. All right, so we've got these two, for example. But we've also got the case where they get replaced with different ones, which is allowed if they're different, okay? And so you could look at it like this. These would all be valid substitution instances of this form given only these two individual constants, and those are the only ones available. Okay, so hopefully that helps sort of cash in the finer points of the notion of a substitution instance. This is a critical notion: form versus sentence. Okay, all right, so we're approaching our final concept here, and this is really what I want you to focus on for this lesson. Okay, is you've got your forms, you've got your sentences, you've got your substitution instances, what is and what is not, the main connective. And the main connective is definitely related to this idea. So there are 6 fundamental types of sentences or forms. Okay, so this can work for a sentence or it can work for a form. But it's really, really important for you to understand this. And we're going to be focused mainly on the sentence case here. Because in the near future, we're going to be adding to the fundamental types of sentences. Okay, so here we've got 6. There's going to be a total of 8. But right now, you just need to get these 6 down. And again, they mirror our work in Chapter 1. So a sentence, like this guy, for example, is a negation if and only if its main connective is the tilde symbol. Similarly, a conjunction is this. Okay, its main connective is that guy. Disjunction, that guy. Arrow, that guy. Biconditional, the tribar. And it's brute if and only if it has no main connective. Okay. So, like, for example, here's a quantificational sentence, right? It has no main connective, and therefore it's brute, okay? So, for each of these, can you go through and tell me what kind or type of sentence it is, or what type of form it is? This can work for forms as well, exact same definition. So, you could build your tree in each case, but hopefully you can recognize by eyesight very quickly what types these are, and this is a critical skill, so try it now. Okay, hopefully you've had a chance to pause it, and again, this is absolutely important. You need to get this down now because of where we're going, okay? This is why I divided things up in the book the way I have. So, A here, this sentence, and it is a sentence, that's a disjunction. This here, this is a form, it's a disjunction. Okay? This here is a negation. It's a sentence and it's a negation. This here is a sentence, and it's a conditional. All right. This is a sentence, and it's a negation. This is a form, and it's a conditional. This is a sentence, and it is a biconditional. Okay, it's this case. Right, this is a sentence and it's a disjunction. This is a sentence and it is an, it's the ampersand, so it's a conjunction. This is a sentence and it's a negation. Okay, that's the main connective right there. It's fundamentally a negation. All right, so in the near future, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be adding to this. So unlike with propositional logic, chapter 1 stuff, okay, where you only had these 6 types. Okay, in this case, you're going to have 8 types, and we'll be building into that in the newer section. So in addition to these 6 types, you're also going to have a type of sentence that we're going to call a universally quantified sentence. In addition to that, there's going to be a type of sentence we call the existentially quantified sentence. And a sentence that you look at, or a form, okay, but a sentence usually that we look at is going to fall into one of those 8 categories and only one of those 8 categories. And it's going to be absolutely imperative for your understanding quantificational logic that you be able to look at a sentence and instantly tell, okay, this is a universally quantified sentence. Oh, no, this is a negation. No, this is a disjunction. Okay, so make sure that you're absolutely understanding this, and we will build into the case of a universal and an existentially quantified sentence in the ensuing sections. All right, logic fans, good job. Keep up the good work, and we'll catch you on the next videos.